depuis 2017. Mais maintenant, on va vraiment matérialiser cette activité. Donc, on a 2 mentors. Comme vous le savez, c'est quelque chose qui va être sur YouTube. Les mentors sont en Argentine. Donc, on ne peut pas rester à attendre les autres. On va les laisser commencer.
Okay. So, Paula and Annabella, we're going to start. So you can do an introduction, and then after Annabella can go straight to her presentation. And I will make sure that people get ready and listen to you.
But I would like to know if you will recording it because we will like to use it after. Okay.
Yes, we are now. Hi everyone, welcome to the Biodiversity Data Mobilization workshop in Haiti. We are now live streaming in YouTube, so the video will be available after. So William, if you could give us a very brief introduction in English to the camera so that it stays recorded.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure for us today to have you to discuss together about biodiversity database. This is something we but now we are in the process to make it real. So I am happy that Nepal Botanical Garden, they are here because we have an MOU to work together to see how biodiversity and the Caribbean and the Florida can work together and make it something available for every people that's in the region. So for us, it's a pleasure to have Abela and Paula who will train us about how to build a database and how to use it for decision making. Thank you, everybody who's online right now watching this training. So we hope that it will be very available for all the people. Thank you very much, Paula.
Thank you, William. It's a pleasure to be here in this training. I hope it's going to be fruitful for everyone. So I will make my brief introduction. I'm Paula Sarmoglio from Argentina. I've been working with biodiversity data mobilization projects and training for a while now. And I particularly work with standards and data quality and in relation with the organization Biodiversity Information Standards, TEDWIG. And I've also been collaborating in the GBIF, the Global Biodiversity Information Facility Network, in different programs. And in particular, I'm part of the mentors network. And so in that role is that I come here to aid in the development of this workshop. Thank you. Annabella, you want to present yourself?
Yes, thank you, Paula. Thank you, William. Well, thanks everybody for being here. Let's put my camera. Hello, my name is Annabella Plos. I am also from Argentina. I am the node manager for Argentina node, and I am also the regional representative for Latin America and the Caribbean. I am working on GBIF since 2015, but I started to work with biodiversity data around 2000. So I want to share some information about GBIF and about the data, and we're going to be working with you all this week with Paula. Well, I'm going to share a presentation. Paula, you can see that?
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, I know that maybe everybody already knows.
I will have another one. There is another.
Yeah, can I start?
So,
Okay, sorry. I know that almost everybody here at least one about GBIF, but I want to start speaking about what is GBIF. GBIF is the Global Biodiversity Information Facility. It's an international network and data infrastructure funded by the world's government. So everybody that is part of GBIF is part of all this network and the infrastructure. And what we want to do on GBIF? Well, providing anyone, anywhere, open access to data about the type of life on GBIF, on Earth, sorry. And talking about data, how GBIF looks today. Well, actually, this picture is from the last Sunday. You can see all the places that now we have data available on GBIF. That is the one that has georeferenced. And we also have a lot of more data, and I'm going to show you that, and Paula too, on this week. And also I want to share with all of you one short video about that. What is GBIF? Well, and how we work on GBIF? Well, we have a coordination with a secretariat in Copenhagen, Denmark, and all the countries are an organization like Vernet. We work together on a model that is participant node that that provides data holding institutions around the world. And we work with common standards and open source tools that we're going to see all this week. Who can join GBIF? Actually, it can be a country, an economy, an organization, intergovernmental or international. And all these participants that want to join GBIF must sign our Memorandum of Understanding, that is our MOU. The GBIF participant network today looks like this, with 41 voting participants, 20 associate country participants, and another associate participant. Also, we have an organization in regions. Now we recognize the 6 regions: Africa, Asia, Europe, Latin America, and the Caribbean, North America, and Oceania. And why we are working with region? Well, because the necessities of each region, they are different to the others, and we need to formulate a specific recommendation and work between the nodes just to try to resolve our problems. For the LAC region, in this moment, we have 6 voting participants, that they are the countries that you can see in green color on the map, 3 associate countries, that they are the blue ones, and 1 other associate participant, and in this case is AndinoNet. Between all, we are 380 publishers, and we share more than 73 million occurrences. That is a lot, and if you can see, we don't have any color on the Caribbean, so we really hope that Haiti is going to be our first node on the Caribbean. If you check GBIF, this is a caption of yesterday. We share more than 1.6 billion data. But the question is, who can publish on GBIF? Because until now, I am talking about countries and association, but it's not just all about countries. Can be a museum, an institution, or a collection with a GBIF national node, like Argentina, but also without a GBIF national node. And for that, we can work on the regional level. So if any of you that they are working in a museum and want to your data just be present on GBIF, you can endorse your institution and start to share the data. I'm going to speak a little bit more about that later. And also, any person with an eBird or iNaturalist user or another citizen science project that is sharing the data through GBIF with those licenses, I'm going to talk about that later too, can share the data on GBIF. And also you can check your own data with your user, for example, of iNaturalist. And that is really, really interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the governance on GBIF. All the nodes make a reunion every year, that is the governing board, and we are represented by our head of delegation. That governing board have a chair, a vice chair, and well, we discuss from the objectives for the next year, the budget, everything on the governing board. Also, we have an executive committee that work really close with the GBIF Secretariat. The GBIF Secretariat that is in Copenhagen have different parts for work. One is engagement and participation. They are the one that they are operating the network of participants. Also, we have data products that they are responsible for the quality and scientific value of the data products that they are made for the Secretariat of or by any other GBIF participant. Informatics, that they are responsible for data management, software development, and all the operation of the GBIF infrastructure, and administration. But also we have 3 different committees that they work together with the executive committee, the GBIF Secretariat. One is the Science Committee, another the Budget Committee, and the Participant Notes Committee. And what is a node? What is a typical GBIF node? Well, can look like this, with a head of delegation, a node manager. You can also have additional delegates and node staff. And all the data providers, they are part of a node, of a national node. And data providers, well, they are essentially official institution, natural history museum, NGO, citizen science organization. Well, everybody that they are sharing the data through GBIF. And talking about the node, we have some responsibility for the GBIF node. We have to check about functional capacities, that is planning and policy capacity, engagement capacity, and implementation and evaluation capacity. Basically, the node must to work with all the providers, give a way to endorse the institution, and share objectives and goals for the year or the 5-year plan. And also the GBIF node need to have a technical capacity for biodiversity, data mobilization, data management and curation, and data analysis and use. And many of these parts you can work together with the Secretariat or with another node. But let me speak something else about the things that we can do on GBIF, because being part of the GBIF community is not just publishing your data. You can be inside the network. This is a caption of the GBIF website. So if you want to check on the community, you can check the network. And I am going to talk about the community forum and the Alliance for Biodiversity Knowledge. On the community forum, you can ask for a user and start to share and participate in different discussion about different topics that the community want to share. Can be from a issue with an APA, can be a question about how GBIF put the issues and flags, and the list go and on and on. Just please, if you are interested to share your knowledge or you want to ask something, please do it here. Another activity that we have on the network is the Alliance for Biodiversity Knowledge. That alliance was called by GBIF, but it's not just GBIF. There are many different institutions working there. And now, for example, we are working with the collections to make a global register of natural history collections, and well, all the issues that we used to have working with collections. So if you are interested, you can join the Alliance. You can join as an individual or an institution, but please, just if you are interested, check there or ask me later. Another thing that you can do if you want to participate on the GBIF community is doing through the volunteers activities. One is mentors. We also have ambassador, translators, and citizen science. Mentors and trainer, well, basically is the thing that we are doing now with Paula, is sharing our knowledge and trying to facilitate the information for new providers. For being a mentor, we are checking and searching for different expertise areas. Can be biodiversity, data mobilization, management, publishing, data analysis and use, and also knowledge development. If you are an expert or you have knowledge in any of these areas and you want to participate on the volunteer program, you can share, you can join for by a form that we have on the GBIF website. So if you want to do it, please just fill the form. For being a mentor and a trainer, you can get recognition by the Mozilla badges. We have different badges as a volunteer mentor, project mentor, certificate trainer, and no-manager mentor. Another activity that you can do as a volunteer is to be a biodiversity open data ambassador. And who can be an ambassador? Well, almost everybody, of course, working with all the biodiversity things, to be just sharing best practices and open data sharing and use. And if you want, GBIF can equip you with information, networking opportunities, just to share all these subjects. And another activity as a volunteer can be to be a translator. GBIF is a global institution, so have translation is something that we really need. In the middle 2018, we start to work with the Spanish and Japanese speakers to make a translation of our gbif.org site. And for there, now the interface can be seen in 10 different languages. That is English, Arabic, Spanish, French, Russian, simplified and traditional Chinese, Japanese, Portuguese, and Ukrainian. The idea is to have more and more languages just to make GBIF more available to everybody. And last but not least, as a volunteer, you can participate through the citizen science different projects. The biggest amount of data on GBIF just came from citizen science. If you check, the eBird data set is the biggest that we have on GBIF, and that is citizen science. And if you want to just participate, it's interesting if you can record observation with an app like the one of eBird or iNaturalist, but also you can just help transcribing record from museum specimens, like the project of Note from Nature or Les Servonauts from the Paris Museum, finding different bioblitzes near you where you live. Now we are going to have one global one, that is the City Nature Challenge with iNaturalist on April and May, or joining different citizen science association. But also we have another kind of activities that you can participate on GBIF. They are different from the one that, for the nodes that already have a MOU signed, so they are GBIF participant, and the one that still don't. But let me show you some that they are open for everybody. That is training and e-learning, program and projects, and living atlases. For training and e-learning, that is a new part, and it's good for two different reasons. One, we are a global organization, so travel before the COVID was expensive, and now it's expensive and difficult. So having the opportunity to make the training by e-learning is really, really important. Now, GBIF, through the platform of GBIF Spain, they are offering 3 different subjects. One is the knowledge management. This one is in English and Spanish and French. Sorry, I still see that we are not putting on Spanish. The other one is Biodiversity Data Mobilization course. And the last one is Data Use for Decision Making. They are all available online, and you can just check the links, make your own user, and start to just work with the e-learning platform of GBIF Spain. That is really interesting if you want to just get some training about these 3 topics. Another activity is the BID program. The BID program is the Biodiversity Information for Development that is founded by the European Union. And the aim is for enhance the capacity for effective mobilization and use of biodiversity data on the ACP nation. That means Sub-Saharan Africa, Caribbean, and the Pacific. Another activity that you can share with another participant of GBIF is the Living Atlases. That is an open community created around the Atlas of Living Australia platform, and they can share information, technical support for this platform. After all this, why somebody want to approach the GBIF network? Well, basically it's for 2 reasons that we believe that is really important to you to do that: to contribute activity to provide free and open access for biodiversity information, and to represent your organization interested as a data use or data holder. You can represent a natural history collection, a research institute, a regional or a state agency, a non-governmental organization, or, for example, a citizen science program. But the idea is to contribute for the open access of the biodiversity information. And why? Well, why somebody want to join GBIF? For participation in the global community of biodiversity informatics, for get relationship with other GBIF participants and the secretariat. That is really, really important to share your experience with your neighbor, with another country that you have close, or even with another that is around the planet that maybe has some similar problems, and they can share solutions. Another reason is to point out action toward the Aichi targets, like the target number 9, that is for invasive species, the 11 of protected areas, 12 for avoiding extinction, and more. Participation in different programs. I already talked about the BID. This is the one, the Biodiversity Information Development. We also have a project that is for Asia, that is BIFA, and CES program that is exclusive for GBIF participants, but I want to share some information with you just on the next slide. Another reason to join GBIF is for the regional and global collaboration. And of course, for the open access resource and tools. About that program, the CES program is the capacity enhancement support program that is exclusive for GBIF participants. That means that you must belong to a country or an organization that already signed the MOU. So you can participate in this annual program that is founded by GBIF, and they are based on the combination of 5 types of action. Just for giving you an idea, the funds, they are around 15 to 25,000 euros each year for the project that they are selected. And we can work with mentoring activities, support for regional events, GBIF advocacy action, documentation and promotion of data use. For example, that video that we saw on the beginning is the result of one CES program between Colombia and GBIF Spain, that they want to produce more information for what is GBIF in Spanish, because we really need to have something in our language. And for that video was made. And about joining, because I already mentioned that there are some things that you can do just if your country or your organization is part of GBIF. Well, first, you must choose a category to be a voting participant, an associate country participant, or if it is an institution, the category for you is other as an associated participant. Which one is the difference between voting participant and associated country participant? Well, as I mentioned on the beginning, GBIF is founded by the governments of the participant. So there is a payment that each country are doing to the GBIF to help all the organization. And if you do that, if your government do that, you become a voting participant. On the other hand, you can just associate as associate country participant and be on that situation for a while. I remember there are 5 years that you can be an associate country participant, but it's really good if you can be a voting participant, because in that way, you know they are going to have a vote for the governing board and you can participate directly on the decision of the program and the budget each year. After you choose a category, you must send a letter of intent. That is different if you're a country or organization, and you can find it on the GBIF website. And after that, you can proceed to the signature for the MOU. And when you do that, you are already a node, so you need to designate a head of delegation and a node manager. But let's speak a bit about which kind of things I can check about Haiti on GBIF today. Well, this actually caption is from yesterday. I can see that we already have information about Haiti sharing for 34 different countries, and all the map with the georeferences data look like this. But if you want to check a little bit more, you can see that you have a lot of information about mammals, birds, some about flowering plants, a lot of about mollusks and amphibians and reptiles. But all this information, they are not sharing by any of the organization of Haiti. For example, if I check the executive report, I just can see that all the data that they are talking about Haiti, the biggest contribution, sorry, is IBER. IBER, that is a citizen science organization, and please don't feel bad, all the countries, the biggest data set is about birds, that is IBER. But also there are contributions from different institutions around the world that hold Haiti information. About the access and use, well, last year from Haiti, we just get 4 requests of data, and that represent almost 0 downloads during the 2020. With this workshop, we hope that you start to check more and more about the Haiti data that we already have on GBIF Network. Well, about GBIF, I don't have any more to tell, and I want to know if is any question about all these slides that I share with you.
Thank you so much, Annabella. We will wait for William or Marie to tell us if there are questions from the attendees. In Haiti, we do not have questions in the
Okay,
YouTube
thank you so
chat.
much. Can you hear
Marie?
me?
Yeah.
Okay, excuse me. Vous avez...
Marie, we cannot hear you right now.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes.
there.
Just a
Okay,
second.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Annabella?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you can hear. Okay, I'm gonna ask them for the question, and if they have question, I'll be able to, I'm gonna translate it for them, and then you'll be able to answer.
Okay.
Donc, vous aviez dit, ensuite on pourrait avoir un résumé.
Si on veut,
Non,
Mais après, je pense, je vais faire une sorte de résumé pour vous.
Parce que vous savez, en ligne, ils doivent rester de 9h jusqu'à 11h.
on continue après, on fait...
Maintenant, c'est peut-être pour les questions.
Pour les
Quelles questions que vous avez maintenant?
Puisque si vous voulez, si vous pouvez poser directement la question en anglais. Et si c'est un petit peu difficile, je vais essayer de traduire ça pour vous. Est-ce que ça vous va? Okay. Donc, qui veut être le premier à poser les questions? So I'm taking the questions for you right now.
Okay.
Thank you, Marie. Just a reminder for everyone, you will have the presentations available both in English and in French. So you will be able to revisit those if you need to. But we welcome every question now.
Okay, pour ceux qui étaient n'ont pas a dit, juste un petit rappel, les documents sont disponibles en français et en anglais. Donc, j'ai essayé de vous envoyer ça par WhatsApp directement, c'est un petit peu dur. Donc, je vais vous envoyer ça par email en français, si ça vous va. C'est arrivé?
OK, la question à vous parce qu'on est sur YouTube.
Alors, il t'a parlé de qui ça, qui gens monde capable de monde capable de publier sur GBIF. Est-ce que il y a un monde qui en dans un pays qui pas mange GBIF, est-ce que l'individu est capable d'aller directement publier sur GBIF?
So, since you mentioned that people can pay your cap publier sur
Non,
GBIF,
est-ce que un individu qui fait partie de un État qui pas mange GBIF, est-ce que un individu est capable de publier?
So Mr. Theogen is asking you a question. So he said, can someone who is in a country that is not part of GBIF can publish on GBIF?
Yes. You can endorse your institution, and the regional representative, that in this case is me, can give you access to publishing on GBIF. We already have a tool that is the IPT that Paula is going to explain everybody later how it works. But we have an IPT for the region that is available to any institution on the Latin America and the Caribbean to share the data through GBIF. He can start today if you want.
So if the country, it's gonna happen even if the country is not part of GBIF, this is possible.
Yes, this is possible. And if after the country joins GBIF, we can move those data to the national IPT, and that is all. But yes, if he wants to share the data, the mapping, and with the data quality checking, he can start to share data on GBIF today or tomorrow.
Ok, li di oui possible capable faire la partie de mais qu'on y a là maintenant on va faire avec un outil qui est le IPT. Donc pour là pour parler nous de ça qui IPT à la présentation par là et demain si Dieu veut. Et puis il dit qu'on ça qu'on y a là maintenant c'est après si OK, après si pays a qu'on y a livre faire partie de GBIF qu'on y a maintenant il va transférer données là yo dans comme ça
La base de données.
La base de données nationale.
So, OK, go ahead.
OK, merci. Je vais faire continuité de questions avec les jeunes, mais je vais aller sur différentes activités que l'idée bail accès que capable de participer. Mais la question maintenant, c'est si on ne peut pas faire aucun parti de aucune organisation, mais il est au courant de différentes activités que GBIF gagne, est-ce que nous pouvons participer directement?
Là, je te répondre parce que parler de citizen science, ça veut dire que vous-même vous capable de décider de publier sur GBIF par vous-même. Donc, pas nécessaire que vous dans une organisation ou qu'à prendre décision de publier sur GBIF.
On va parler de publier, de participer dans différentes activités que GBIF gagne.
Et oui, ça, il faut que vous publiez, si vous pas publier, donc vous sont un individu qui est isolé. Il faut qu'il y ait certaines relations ensemble avec eux. C'est même une date pour jardin botanique, là, si vous besoin de faire activité ensemble avec eux, il faut en contact ensemble avec eux.
Okay. So we had another question and Mr. William, he answered the question. So we're gonna move forward and have another one. Are you fine with that?
Yes, if you are fine with that, don't worry. Well, if there is any other question, but if you have later more questions, just please contact me. I'm going to share my email, but you can find my email on the GBIF website. I am the regional representative for Latin America and the Caribbean, so it's published there.
Yeah.
So, Annabella, I think that so we have to. Hello? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I think that I will do the on-site training to talk more about what you say because, you know, it was in English, somebody didn't understand. So after we will send you the questions because the first day it's about how Haiti can be part of GBIF. and we'll discuss about that on site. And after send some question to you and Paola.
Yes, please don't do
Okay.
that. Well,
So, Paola, do you think we can finish with it right now? And after maybe send you the questions? Hello, Paola? Hello? Do you hear us, Paola?
well, until
Hello?
Paula return, I have another
Revisit
short. Ah, you're there.
Yeah,
some of the topics.
Hello?
Well,
Hello?
yeah.
Yes, I hear you, Paola. So my question was if we can finish right now.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be great to gather all the questions, and we can revisit them during the on-site application and after if needed, so that Anabela can continue with the other part of the presentation.
Okay. Okay. Yo proposez nous pour nous continuer avec la partie présentation et puis après agronome Sinéa lui-même est capable nous tout on a rassembler toutes questions pour nous et puis yo même y a voyer réponse. Donc capable faire ça bien.
Monsieur?
Yeah. Thank you so much. So I think Annabella, you will have to move forward with your presentation. So we are waiting for you, and I think everybody is ready to listen to you. So you can go ahead.
Thank you, Marie. Well, this one is shorter, and we are going to, I want to share with all of you about data publishing workflow on the GBIF network. Well, some benefit of sharing biodiversity data. One is to fill data gaps in undersampled region of the world. Another benefit is to have the possibility of reuse the data available in decision making or research. That reuse we can track in because we use the DOI for each download of the data. Also, for environment impact evaluation, we can save cost because we already have data available for working in different sites, and we can reduce field survey effort just because we share the data. Another thing that is important and is not listed there, that if you are in a country that a lot of your natural history collection information, they are outside the country, you can check all that information available on GBIF, and also if you later have a national portal and repatriate the information so you can check it in one place and don't have that problem to start to check in different collection and in different institutions to get the information about your country. For example, I am a botanist, and each time I make a revision, even with plant of my country, I must to start to check in different institutions on the US and Europe to get access to the information of plant of my country. Now, with GBIF is easiest because I have all the information there, so I can check more direct in which places they are the material and the information that I need. But let's talk a bit about the GBIF data. Which kind of information I can share or I can get on the gbif.org site. Basically, the more common and the original data that we start to get on GBIF was the species occurrence data. That is the collection information. That includes, like a minimum, a scientific name, a date, and a location. But now, all that natural history collection, we start to share another kind of data, like monitoring surveys, camera trap images, eDNA, and of course, citizen science project. So we have a lot of information, and that information can be shared in different ways. For example, and just for the people that want to share the information, I must to tell to them that we can share information about the place, the habitat, some substrate, and all the quality of the data that you're going to share is responsibility of the stakeholder for that information. But GBIF just give you a lot of tools that we're going to start to work all the week to help the provider to publish a good data quality information. We have 4 different classes of data set. Actually, there are 3 with information and what is just about metadata. Metadata only. The other one is checklist. We have occurrence and sampling event. Let's see one by one. Metadata only is the information about the data set. It's like when you share a paper and on the repository, they ask you about the metadata. We can share in this kind of data, the description of the methodologies, just without the occurrence. This kind of data set is not quite common, but you can share it if you like. But the more important part for us is the checklist, the occurrence, and the sample event data. The checklist, like the name said, is a list for organism or taxa of different ranks. That can be the list of species of a site or a geographic area, or I don't know, like native names or some about medicinal plants of one point. Well, it's a checklist, can be the birds of a country or can be the birds of a different and a smaller place. And it's just a list. So we're going to have in our database a list with names, then each line is unique. And for the occurrence, that is the occurrence of a species, or can be another taxon, can be a family, can be another, of a place or on a date. Basically, they are the natural history collection database that we share at least a scientific name, a place that can have latitude, longitude, or just a description, a date. We can share, well, Paula is going to show you all of you. There are a lot of information that you can share. We have a lot of different fields that Darwin Coase provides. Yes. William? Okay. And last but not least, we have the sampling event data that here, the important part of this data set is about where and when you collect the data, and can be with a collection, so with an occurrence that with some samples that you collect, or can be even with a measure of some abiotic factor. But the important part here is that our main core of the information is going to be where and when, and not just the collection. But we're going to see this later too. So if you want to share the data, we're going to check, and just we're going to finish with this, the step in the publishing process. First, you must to become a data publisher. You must to request the endorsement from GBIF. In this part of the gbif.org, you have a form that you must to fill that is going to ask you about your institution and who is going to be the technical contact and the kind of data that you want to share. And it's the same form if you have a node or if you don't. So if you have a node, that form is going to be sent to the node manager of your country. But if you don't, it's going to be sent to the regional representative, that in this case is me. So I'm going to say if I know the institution or no, and you can become a data publisher with this form that you can just fill in some minutes. It's not really difficult. After or before, you must pass the data capture step. That is the work that you're going to have this week. Is with all the mapping, with the Darwin Core standard and the ecological metadata language for the metadata. Oops. There. GBIF provides some pre-configured Excel spreadsheet that can serve of templates, but also you can do a manual mapping that I believe is the best, because you must to be aware that all the information that you have and all the information that you can share, because on the beginning, many persons, they are just looking about how complete or incomplete the database can be. But when you start to do all the mapping, you're going to just discover that you have a lot of information to share. One important thing is no metadata template is provided, because all the metadata, they are going to be recorded when you start to fill all the information on the IPT for the publishing of your data set. The third step is to publish. And with that, we're going to do it with the IPT, that is the Integrating Publishing Toolkit. Paula is going to share one on test for all the practice. And after, if somebody want to publish the data on GBIF, after the endorsement, we can share a user of the IPT LAC for the Latin American, the Caribbean region, and they can publish there. The IPT can be in different places. As I mentioned before, can be hosted at a national node if you are a GBIF participant, can be hosted by another GBIF participant of data publisher like Vernet, or can be cloud hosted like the IPT LAC for their region. And the IPT is the one that ensures that the data and the metadata is going to be in a valid HTML format. So you just must worry about fill everything and do the mapping. The data preparation is about the processing, editing, and mapping the information that you already have in your database to the format that Darwin Core requires for all the publishing through the IPT. It's really important to check about the data quality, and if you have any sensitive species that maybe not all the information is good to be shared openly, but we're going to discuss that later too. And for data publication, since 2016, all the data set that they are published through the GBIF must be with a license of Creative Commons to the data set. You can choose between 3 different types. That is CC0, that is for use without any restriction, CC BY, that is with attribution, and CC BY NC, that is with attribution and for no commercial use. They are the 3 different licenses that GBIF support. And if your data don't specify any of these licenses, you can't share it on GBIF. Because if you remember, we support open data. And last but not least, when the data set, they are online, you can check by the data set or you can check by the data. And so you can going to check that you're going to have a website with all the information about the data set, the name, the publisher, how many occurrences you have, and also if there is some kind of reuse, you can check about the citation. So any download that after publish that data with the correct attribution, you're going to have a new citation there, and you can check even which one is the citation and which data of all this data set is used. And also, every time that you make the endorsement, you as an institution, as a museum, as a collection, or as a citizen science project, going to have a profile that is going to nest all the different data sets that you're going to share. Another thing that is really, really important is forgive the appropriate attribution for the reuse is that each data set and each download is going to have a DOI, a digital object identifier that is going to make really easy to track the reuse. For that, and maybe you can already saw that before, is really, really important if you use GBIF data to cite the DOI. It's like another scientific publication, so it's really, really important to cite the DOI, to give the correct attribution to the publisher, and to share fair data. Well, this is all the information that I have to all of you today, and I want to know if you have questions.
Thank you very much, Annabella. That was great. So we will wait for William and Marie to let us know if the participants there have questions. We do not have any coming from YouTube.
Oh. Thank you so much, Annabella, for your presentation. So I'm gonna ask the people if they have questions so that we move forward. Donc, Annabella, elle a fini sa présentation pour cette partie-là. Donc, si vous avez des questions, allez-y.
Merci pour la présentation. Et j'ai deux questions. Et la première, c'est quand elle a parlé du format template de publication. Quelle est la différence quand elle parle du format, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire? Quand elle parle du template, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire?
Okay. So you have one question, Annabella, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so we have someone who is asking you, so what's the difference between template and format?
The difference between template and?
Yeah, and publication, like the format publication.
Okay, no, the template is just a help to you to start to make all the mapping of your data. So it's a help to, how can I say, translate all the information that you have in your database to do the mapping on the terms of Darwin Core. But for a publication, you're going to need all your data, that is your occurrence, that is the template that can be on Excel or any other format, plus your metadata that you're going to put that on the IPT. But please don't worry, because we're going to work on that. So it's going to be more easy to understand.
Internet là, c'est des fous. Donc, I go. Pardon? Ok, d'accord. À côté, vous êtes dans des salles mais bon, se fait un coupé. Ok, les dit comme ça, template là, c'est pour capable faire comme si code là, code géographique, c'est pour ça là lui-même. Donc, c'est pour capable et traduire et base de information, base de données là. On a même dit publication comme si pour template là, c'est leur faire référence à format, par exemple Excel. Donc, c'est pour ça, c'est là, ça va utiliser Excel pour faire format de publication là. Et puis, non, peut-être mis un petit genre perdu. Vous avez parlé dans le deuxième, vous avez parlé de format. Format, on y a fait référence avec Excel, par exemple. Template là, c'est là où traduit données là. Vous avez une deuxième question après ça.
Oui, deuxième question, c'est de parler des DOI, ça me fait du.
De qui ça?
Des DOI. DOI.
Oh, ok.
Qu'est-ce que ça explique vraiment?
Et ça veut dire?
Oui.
Ok. So,
c'était dans la dernière.
Oh, okay. So, Annabella, on your last slide, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you were talking about DOI, D-O-I. So,
yeah.
Someone would like to know what is it? What is it about exactly?
What is the DOI? Is like well, anything on the web, on the World Wide Web of internet, have some identification. Well, the DOI is one stable identification for any object on the internet. So if you want to refer about the download that you make on GBIF today, you must use the DOI and not to put the URL or mention on your paper that I download the data from GBIF, because that site and that question that you are doing to the database on GBIF today, if you make the search, some hours later, the result can be different. So for the DOI, we have an a way to find again the thing that you already got when you make the question. Is something that help us to know exactly which data you are using in which moment and in which paper. But the DOI, you can be used for papers and for any other information on internet.
Ok, mwen ale mwen fè global pou. Et li di kon sa, DOI la, c'est li fè référence à quelque soit ba ou gen sou site internet là que ou capable d'identifier comme si on sait de parler de objets stables ou capable d'utiliser sur internet là et li dit tout, li permet tout comment dire download données à partir de J. Et puis il était ajouté que c'est on a dit ça, il fait référence à n'importe qui information ou bien n'importe qui paper, papier. Pas connaître si ça est clair. Bien, je t'en bagage.
Est-ce que c'est comme une taille que m'a ajouté?
De toute façon, moi, pour expliquer nous qui ça c'est ça fait que il y a deux parties. Nous, avec Annabella, qui est responsable pour GBIF pour Amérique latine et Caraïbes, donc tout ça gagné doit passer par Annabella. Donc là, c'est une raison. Même connaît qu'avec anglais et puis tout, ce sont des thèmes que nous ne connaissons du tout, qui sont de base de données. Donc, on va continuer avec. On va continuer la présentation et puis nos meilleures compréhensions, par exemple, parler de currency, checklist, DOI, des choses.
Parler de Creative Commons license. Est-ce que c'est n'importe où utiliser une là-dedans, est-ce qu'au moins il faut utiliser une pour donner à capable de la donner?
Ça pour l'expliquer au début, c'est que les métadonnées là, il faut que tout le monde puisse l'utiliser. Il faut mettre des restrictions sur les, par exemple, même sur Google. On va le faire sur Google pour prendre une photo, n'importe qui, genre, on doit finir prendre Google. Quelqu'un qui fait site internet pour ça, il fait l'argent sur Google, pour mettre une photo, ou aller voler une photo pour moi, puis te dire c'est soit marché, après ça, on est dans l'état. Donc, les droits, c'est ça, les DOIS, c'est des bagages que vous mettez qui permettent que mon caractère de traçabilité de données. On connaît que des étiquettes même, pour utiliser, on va. Ou du moins, si vous utilisez ou mal utilisé, on va arriver dans l'état. OK?
Okay, thank you, Mr. William, for your answer. So,
Excusez-moi, c'est une question un peu plus technique. C'est casse technique. Dans mes comme je t'ai parlé de tout le monde qui a publié. C'est ça. Donc, dans mes connaître comment qui mécanisme pour pas de répétition de données.
C'est très bien que vous rentrez plusieurs fois. C'est très bien que vous rentrez plusieurs fois. Il y a ça occurrence. Si vous voulez donner au cas, au cas, les mettez, nous dit que ça donne une meilleure compréhension de distribution de produits. Et ça, c'est pour déterminer la présentation-là, il y a occurrence. Donc, occurrence est extrêmement importante.
Est-ce que je vais par exemple, il y a un monde passé les journées dans le même espace-là, après 2 semaines, ou bien un mois, ou bien un année, ou l'autre monde passe le même données.
C'est très bien, parce que c'est très bien que l'autre monde passe le prendre. Parce que si après, on te prend en 2014, et puis on prend en 2024, encore, ça donne un indice que donner en plein ça, ou bien ça, il a toujours. Il n'y a aucun problème.
Mais ça me fait comprendre. Mais est-ce que, en fait, que nous avons mis des données, c'est pas de données à pas pouvoir.
GBIF, c'est à l'instar de Google que c'est une petite base de données qui vient en mode. Donc, le travail sur le stockage en ville. Tu ne prends pas seulement photo, maintenant qu'on y a pas vidéo. Tu ne prends pas checklist, maintenant tu prends metadata. Ça veut dire que là, mon travail sur le bagage, ça y est. On prend Facebook, quantité de photos sur Facebook, on va gérer. Mais il faut dire que le bon standard. Donc, pas mettre ton photo, même si le loup est gardé sur Facebook, il change. La même chose pour
GBIF. Il faut dire que GBIF pas un site de vraiment de publication côté que vous gagnez une grosse base de données que c'est des institutions qui gagnent des bases de données et collecter ensemble de bases de données. Ça, leur rentrer un document, ou rentrer un lettre sur GBIF, et bien la chercher dans toute base de données. Par exemple, la chercher dans le musée de Paris, la chercher dans le jardin botanique de New York. Et puis, pour te donner ça, pour dire, mais bonne information, ça, oui. Donc, il n'y a pas vraiment un espace de collecter ensemble d'informations que bah, donc, je pense que nous allons faire une présentation également de GBIF, comme on était dit, l'objectif, Paola, c'est ambassadrice pour GBIF au niveau de la Caraïbe et de l'Amérique latine, et Paola, c'est représenter GBIF aux zones. Donc, nous voulons que le fait présentation, que nous-mêmes nous comprenons, nous-mêmes nous développons des zones comprenons, nous allons faire un petit peu présentation pour mettre nous dans le bain de ça.
Merci beaucoup à vous William, pour détailler ça. Par contre, si vous êtes capable de
Oui, ça va.
Ça va?
Il y a l'autre question, comment vous allez faire cette question là,
L'étape de présentation, nous faisons pour les dit Haïti First Voting Caribbean. Et puis, après ça, le steps in the publishing process là, qui comme les data publisher, il dit pour demander request endorsement from GBIF. Il met des national node manager. Là, on est, ça veut dire Haïti, c'est premier node de bien. Là, on connaît qui est qui node manager, est-ce qu'il a avec fait demande.
L'idée, c'est que si vous-même pouvez publier sur GBIF, Haïti qui doit avoir un nœud, ça veut dire qu'il y a un point focal. C'est point focal là qu'elle veut donner à part parce que faut donner là, les analyser pour connaître est-ce que les correct les en forme. Maintenant, si pays ou pas gagné comme Haïti, ou pas gagné, on va obliger de voir Annabella qui est responsable Amérique latine et Caraïbes. Maintenant, Annabella peut dire est-ce que son monde qui sont certifiés vraiment, est-ce que son dia livré. Donc, ça veut dire que il n'y a pas n'importe qui pour s'en publier, au bon processus, ou besoin ou endorsement. Ça veut dire que le monde qui prend en charge, qui dit que ou même ça va faire libre. Okay.
Merci beaucoup à vous.
So it's a better to finish with Annabella, and we will collect all the questions and we'll send to her. So
okay.
Maybe to say the merci if we continue.
Okay.
If we,
So thank you so much, Annabella. So we will just gather all the questions after, and then we will send them to you and Paula, so that you send the answer, and then we'll make sure that all the participants can get their answers. So we're going to move forward. So if you have something to say, go ahead.
For my part, just give you all the thanks for this space, and please send me all the questions so we can remove all that sorry. We can remove all that problems with all the participants. Just thank you.
Okay, we will do so. We will send you the questions. I'll write them down, and then I will make sure that you have them.
So from my side, I want to thank Annabella for this great talks that she gave for us, and we will meet everyone again tomorrow for the next session that is on standards, biodiversity data standards. So I will thank also the people that we were watching these talks live streaming on YouTube, and I will stop live streaming now.